first time seeing her, I'm sure she's going to be an absolute blast. Please welcome, oh my fucking goodness, I'm so sorry. I got a little... That's funny, I've done Just for Laughs, I've done some other shit, this is all fucking dumb. I'm jet lagged, that's my excuse, I don't know about you guys. Alright, anyways. There we go. First comment at this age, please give a big warm welcome to Winona Galera!
Okay, hello everybody. My name's Winona, I'm 28, I'm a stoner, and I'm a recovering Catholic. Yeah. You know, growing up, Roman Catholic, makes you pick up some pretty weird habits. Like I have the ability to dissociate for 45 minutes. Like, I actually listen when a man tells me to get on my knees now. And you know, whenever I look at Christ and I see him bloodied and naked and tortured, all I can think of is, I wonder what he's doing later. Like 3 days from now. Like, will he be risen? But I even though I don't practice anymore, I don't practice anymore. I still like, oh my God. Yeah, yo. Okay, so even though I don't practice Roman Catholicism anymore, I still like to use some of, like, you know, the traditional medicines of that and of my family and of my culture. You know, like, I like to keep around my Lola's Rosary, some Vicks Vapor Rub, and about 250 milligrams of Ritalin. It keeps me grounded, you know? It keeps me grounded. And I'm also Filipino, you know, it's very clear, you know, like that I'm not indigenous. But my people were colonized 3 times, so I definitely see like a lot of struggles. But I'm Filipino, yeah, so that should tell you a few things about me. 1, I grew up in a very conservative setting. 2, I was very repressed around my sexuality. So when I came here and was far, far away from my family, I became BC's littlest whore of Babylon. And I had a good time, like, and I kind of had and I had a great time. I had a big partying phase, and I still kind of do, you know, a couple of months ago. Anyway. Sorry, I only got 10 minutes, y'all. Okay, so a couple of months ago, me and my friends, we wanted to party. So we were like, let's go somewhere that has, you know, a bunch of delicious cocktails, you know, big, bright city lights, and just a bunch of hot, glamorous people. But we ended up on Granville Street. And we ended up at this place called Gorgamish. Anyone ever been? Oh, yeah. So if you've never been to Gorgamish, it's kind of like this neon-soaked Renaissance fair, but with just so much more drugs. Like, I remember going in there, and I remember seeing this buxom tavern waitress, and she had a bunch of like brightly colored bottles behind her, which was like, you know, Gatorade with 2 shots of tequila. It was like $8. I remember getting offered this magical white dust by this tall, pale, long-eared person in the bathroom. I think in Lord of the Rings, they call those twinks, right? Yeah. And I remember meeting this really quiet but really kind and generous person who had just a lot of dark robes on, and they just made me feel a lot safer in the space. A dealer. But you know, I don't have a lot of experience with local dealers, so obviously I came up and I was like, Molly man, I would like to purchase 1 Molly. You see, I'm going into dance battle, and I'm going to be going against the finest baddies and the most noblest coke daddies of Yale Town, and I just need 1 Molly, just 1, so I can shake ass before the night's end. And it was $10, you know, even though the cost of living is so high, at least the drugs are cheap. But I don't really party like that back in the Phils, especially when you had somebody like my grandpa growing up. He was this like military guy, really conservative, and the most like sexually chaotic Roman Catholic you would ever meet. But I really looked up to him. But a couple of years ago, my mom, she calls me and she says, hey, Grandpa's pretty sick. And I go, okay. So I fly back, I say my goodbyes, and before he died, at least I remember the mood around the house was so sad. So I was like, you know what, I'll put my upbeat playlist on. And I put on the song called Good Day by Nappy Roots. Does anybody know the song? If you don't know this song, it goes a little something like, we're gonna have a good day, and all my homies gonna ride today, and all these mamas look fly today, and ain't nobody gonna die today. And then a couple hours later, I got a call, and it was really sucked. It sucked. My grandpa had died. But then I started learning more about my grandpa, and I realized he wasn't the guy that I thought he was. He was, less like this kind of strong patriarch, and more like a horny onion. Let me explain. But like after the funeral, we started going through my grandpa's things. We started going through my grandpa's personal things, and that's when we found out some new information. 1, he was cheating on my grandmother. 2, he was cheating on my grandmother well into his 70s and 80s. And not only that, he had not 1, but 2 illegitimate children. And so, obviously we were really crushed. Oh, wounds. Well, I was really shocked because, I knew he was a family man. I just didn't know he had 3. But, I started reflecting on, his legacy, and I realized, he and I were not so different, we're both really patriotic. We both really like to take care of ourselves, and we're just like the sluttiest 5'3" Filipinos you would ever meet. So when I thought about it, I was like, of course my grandpa's a horny onion, because he's really complex. He had a lot of layers, and every single time you peel a layer, another illegitimate child would pop out. Seeing as I came out, I guess the horny onion doesn't fall far from the horny onion tree. But I live primarily here nowadays, but I'm still trying to learn more about the local culture, especially the local white culture. I'm not sure if y'all understand it either. I have a serving job, at least so a couple of weeks ago I had to go serve food at a wedding. And I realized it was this place called Abbotsford. I'd never been. I remember pulling up there, and it was at sunset, and it was beautiful glade, and I was like, wow, it looks like a big plantation. Mostly because, the guests all look like their ancestors would own a plantation, right? They looked local. The bride, she looked local, she looked like a doll. She had this nice smooth skin and pink cheeks and hair that was the color of corn. I was like, oh, that Barbie's a Mormon, and the guests matched too. I remember pulling up to this wedding with my coworker who's also kind of my height and also Asian and femme, and we were just surrounded by 125 pale, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Braden, McKaylee, Ashley, children of the Abbotsford Corn looking kind of motherfuckers. But I can't rag on white people too much, honestly. I'm actually 1/16 white. Yeah. See, it's funny, in the Philippines, actually, they make you carry a card around in your wallet saying how much white blood you have, and if you show it to the police, you get to commit a war crime. And if you didn't, I get the 1/16 white because my great-great-grandpappy was a white man. He was a white American soldier stationed in the Philippines. Now, if you didn't know, the Philippines was a former colony of America. And you can still see that legacy of colonialism everywhere. Everybody still speaks English. There are a bunch of military bases everywhere. And there are a bunch of older white men with suspiciously younger Asian wives walking around. And even though I came from a military family, really, I never really liked the military or the American military, for that matter. They have, a lot of great PR with their uniforms, their big guns, and their sponsoring of Marvel movies. I used to really enjoy Marvel movies, but as I started learning more about my country's history and learning how much America like ravaged like the Visayas, Luzon, Mindanao, I just couldn't enjoy American war movies anymore, especially Marvel. Like I used to love reading homoerotic fan fiction of Captain Aryan America giving back shots to Iron Man's pussy, but I can't enjoy that anymore. And it really sucks. It's like when I think about American soldiers, I'm like, what are they even fighting for? You know, like more oil, more stolen land, like spices that they won't even use in their bland ass cooking. Oh, sorry. That's British people. That's British people. Oh, same shit, different assholes. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna try and repeat family patterns. I'm not like I would never fuck an American soldier again. Because they don't fight with courage. They don't fight with heart. And like my great grandpappy, they don't pull out. And that's why there are 9 U.S. military bases and thousands of orphan children in the Philippines. Like, no, seriously. Like my slutty grandpa, it was like on my dad's side, of course, it's my dad's side. My slutty grandpa, he actually got left behind by my great white granddaddy. And at least we see, at least that kind of, those relationships kind of like show generationally. Like whenever I go back to the Philippines, I feel so sad because I just still see so much like hype around the American dream and so many separated families and just so much Facebook drama. Like, but I'm still really proud to be Filipino. Like, we're actually the #1 source of recent immigrants to Canada. So that probably means like there are a bunch of, like I might have some cousins in the audience, like right here. You probably owe me money. Yeah. But, like it's okay because, I still love being Filipino and I love being Filipino on these lands. Because, I've noticed that Filipinos have a pretty good rep around here. Like we're known to be hard workers, we're known to be really happy, and we're also happen to be the #1 source of 9-year-old gay kids who could out-sing your ass in Beyonce karaoke.